Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 7. So Module 7 is in between our paragraph modules and the essay modules. So it's a little bit of a buffer in between. So you get just kind of a break from having to do a bunch of writing. We are back to reading strategies for Module 7. And so you can see, if you remember back toward the beginning of the semester, I think Module 2 maybe, we started out with some fundamental reading strategies. Now we're moving on to academic reading strategies. And so we've got a couple of assignments to help you out with this. The first thing that you'll do is do the readings and take the quiz. So the questions here are all about academic reading strategies. So it goes a little bit further than the fundamental reading strategies, and you're taking this information out of the textbook, of the Evergreen textbook, instead of the reading support textbook. And I do have one video here that you can use if you want, just to kind of give you some additional ideas. Basically, we're looking at and focusing on how can we read at the college level. So if you are in a college class and you've been given a reading assignment in a college class, how do you approach it? What are some strategies that you can use so that you don't feel completely overwhelmed and so that you actually get the reading done? You'll find some of your classes will just kind of overload you with a bunch of readings every week, and it can be really difficult to keep up. And so these are some strategies to help you out. I also have a link to college level reading support again, so that you can go back through that if you want to. That is that second textbook, that's the OER, so it's open resource for you to use. Then you're going to do, so after you've taken the quiz, then the second part of the reading assignment is to, or the reading practice is to do a discussion board just as a reader response. So you are going to pick, you're going to be practicing the strategies that are outlined in the Evergreen book. So if you're in the Evergreen book, chapter 42 is strategies for reading for writers. So there's just a bunch of different ideas for you. And then there's these two methods that it discusses, and that is the SQ3R and the REAP strategies. So they are both strategies that you can use in order to really get into a text and understand it a little bit better. So SQ3R stands for survey, and then you survey the text. So you kind of look over it, you formulate some questions, you read through it, and then you recite it. So you say aloud what you have read, or you might answer the questions as you go through. You can read stuff out loud, and then review would be to go back over it and make sure that you understand everything. So there's 3 R's. And then REAP stands for read, encode, annotate, and ponder. So reading, obviously, looking over it. Encoding would be translating it into your own words. So think about it like summarizing it to yourself, or like explaining it to a friend. Annotating would be to write notes on the text, and then pondering would be to reflect on it. So those are the two different methods. So what you're going to do, this becomes a little bit more complicated doing it on a discussion board, but we're doing a discussion board. Your task is to pick from chapter 24 or 43. We have this list of reading selections, and you're going to pick one of them. There's plenty of options. Everybody can only have, every story can only have one person picking it though. Once you've chosen, you're going to, let's say you want to do A Risk-Free Life, Leonard Pitts. You click on it, and then you want to make sure that you are putting that in. Actually, I think it'll let me copy and paste. When you reply, make sure that you you can, if you want to, you can kind of claim your story or your essay if you want. You don't have to, but this allows you to make sure nobody else steals it, because only one student can do each one. And so once you've posted, then you can go back in and edit it, and that way you'll make sure that it's saved for you. So your first your first task is to do, in your original post, give us a like the title, the author, the page number, a couple of sentences summarizing the main ideas, and then using the two methods, you're going to break down and analyze the readings. Now, the issue is going to be, because we're doing this electronically on the discussion board, you can't necessarily show us that you've read it, but you do want to show us all 4 stages of the process. So you want to make sure that you're writing something out for the read. You know, I read this, it took me this long, or something like that. For the annotate, or for the like highlight stage, you can actually do this in the textbook. It allows you to highlight. If you do this, you can highlight something, and then you can also, if you want, highlight, and you can leave yourself a note. So this would be an annotation. If I can spell it right, you can leave an annotation for yourself and save it. And so that actually will pop up here as a little note. And so that's a really nice way to show that you have done this. And you can actually do this throughout, if you want, throughout your story. And then you can take a screenshot of it and submit it as that stage of the either SQ3R or the REAP method. So you can do that if you want to. That just helps us to see that you know how to do it. If you have a printer, you could also print it out and do it by hand. That would be totally fine. So then you're going to respond to 2 peers. So once you've done, that's going to take the longest, is doing either one of the reading methods. Once you're done with that, then you can choose 2 students to respond to, and then read their selected readings, and then kind of go over their analysis, and then add some things to the discussion that you noticed that they didn't comment on. So it might be questions that you have, it might be words that were unfamiliar to you, something like that would be useful. So I've got some sample posts here that you're more than welcome to look at. It might help you out, it might not, but that's kind of the basic idea with this discussion board, is really just giving you a chance to look over something again. I used this one, I believe is not within the chapter, so it's not like one that you can't do. And this is an example of I took a screenshot of my highlighting and questions, and then how I wrote out, just a couple of sentences for each of the 5. I did the SQ3R method. I did a couple of sentences for each one. And then this is what my response post might look like. So adding in, some questions that I had after reading my peers post, and then some additions and that kind of thing. So feel free to use that if that helps. And then that'll be the discussion board. So once you're done with that, that's kind of the major part of the module, probably take you the longest. And then the other thing in the module is another quiz, and this is over sentence errors. And so it's just going over some of the common issues like run-ons and comma splices, fragments, that kind of thing. Those are probably the things that I comment on most, are run-ons, comma splices, and fragments. So it's a really good idea to understand, what's going on with those and how those can affect writing and how to correct them. So if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. Otherwise, have a great day.